It's finally here. I've got the Amflow PL carbon to test, but before I get it muddy, I want to get it built, get it in the stand, and check its vital stats. Okay, European and UK, that's pretty handy. Let's get it in the stand. So the first thing I'm going to do is weigh it 100% stock. Then I'm going to measure the actual geometry. Then I'm going to check if it's actually got 150 mil of travel on the rear. And the final thing I'm going to do is swap the 29-inch rear wheel for a 27.5-inch and check if the flip chips correct the geometry 100%. Let's get into it. So as you can see, this is the Amflow PL carbon, not the Pro model that Danny rode, but both bikes share the exact same full carbon frame. So this model costs £5,999 and you still get the 800 watt-hour battery and the Avinox M1 drive unit. So in standard mode, that means this bike has 105 Newton meters of torque and 850 watts peak power. But then if you click it into boost mode, that goes to 1,000 watts peak power and 120 Newton meters per torque. So it's super powerful. So looking at the spec, you're getting Fox performance level suspension, you've got a 36 fork, you've got a float shock, you've also got Magura MT5 brakes, and a SRAM GX mechanical drivetrain. So you're not getting the access stuff you'd maybe get on the higher end builds. In terms of travel, you're looking at 160 mil on the front and a claimed 150 mil on the rear, but I'm going to be checking that later just to make sure you're not getting shortchanged. So this model is available in 4 frame sizes, medium to XL, and this one's the size L. Now, the Pro, it's not that light. Now the Pro model that Danny had weighed 20.6 kilos, but this one's got alloy wheels and a lower spec, so let's get it in the scales and see how much it weighs. Okay, so now for the moment of truth. I reckon it's 21.5. Wasn't expecting the seat post to drop out. 21.52. Andrew, you can testify that I pulled that out of the box and we didn't weigh it in advance, right?
Nope.
Yeah, that was a pretty good guess, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm well chuffed with that. But yeah, you gotta remember, this thing's got an 800 watt-hour battery and it costs 6 grand. I mean, that's an impressive weight for a full powered e-bike, right? Okay, now let's do the geometry. So the claimed head angle is 64.5 degrees. Let's see what it is. 64.1. Slacker's better, right? Okay, so the seat angles are claimed 70 degrees, and this is 69.4. Yeah, 69.4, which is that's exactly what I'd expect, because if the head angle is slightly slacker than claimed, then the seat angle should also be slacker than claimed. I'm going to need to raise the saddle a bit to measure the effective seat tube angle. So I'm trying to pull the seat post up, but the cable's not sliding in the frame. So I don't know how I'm going to raise the saddle. Oh, there we go. That's better. Sometimes you just need a bit of brute force. But high, so I'll come down 10 mil. That's about 740. 76.2, so not quite as steep as the 77 that they claim, but then I don't know what saddle height they're measuring it at. Okay, so claimed BB height is 345, and actually that looks more like 341. So yeah, a lower is better again. Okay, so the chainstay length is claimed 445, and yet it's exactly 445. One of the things that first stood out to me on the Amflow was that, like, this is a size L, but the seat tube's quite tall. They said it was 450, so let's see what it actually is. It's actually more like 455 to the top of the collar, but it still comes with a, I think it's got a 170mm drop post, so I've got a little bit of seat post sticking out there, so it should still be okay. Okay, for the reach, we're gonna take 2 measurements and then subtract them. First one is from here to the BB center. So that's 1190mm. Then the second measurement is from here. Now, most brands measure to the frame for the reach, but if you can't get rid of this headset spacer, you could argue that that's where you should measure to, that headset top cover, not the frame. But for accuracy, let's just do it to the center line of the frame. So yeah, you're looking at that 720. So what was that? 1190 minus 720? 470 exactly. So that's just 5mm shorter than claimed, but again, that's because the shock's probably pulling the bike in a little bit, and it's just sitting a little bit lower, a little bit slacker, also impacts the reach. So this is just the key geometry numbers, so if you want all the details on this bike, be sure to check the description. So the next thing I'm gonna do is measure the vertical rear wheel travel just to see if it delivers 150mm. And for that, I'm gonna use a spirit level, a ratchet strap, and 2 toe straps. So the first measurement I'm going to take is the suspension at full extension. So I just clip it onto the Allen key here, measure up to the, vertically up to the spirit level, and that's 718mm. So next thing to do is let all the air out of shock. So that's it, bottomed out. And then we take the second measurement, and that looks like 573. So 718 minus 573. 145mm travel. But I'm gonna do something to double check, because the reason why the Geo was slacker is because the negative spring was charged, and you can't ride it without that. But what I'm going to do is discharge the negative fully by inflating the shock now, and I think we'll get a little bit more travel out of it. Let's see. So if you're working on a lot of shocks and suspension, having a Lesign digital floor shock pump is pretty handy. I think this thing needs some grease. So the original measurement at top out was 718. So let's see if that, like, inflating negative got us a little bit more. So 721mm. So yeah, inflating the negative got us a little bit more travel. So 3mm more travel actually. So that makes it 148mm travel in total. So pretty close to the 150. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is swap the 29-inch rear wheel for a 27.5, so convert it to MX. I'm going to hit the flip chips here and see if it corrects the geometry 100%. All I'm going to do is check that the head angle is the same, because if it's the same, then everything else is the same too. Oh, it's alive! So I'm just going to get the rear wheel out, take the 29-inch rear wheel out. So this bike comes stock with 29-inch wheels front and rear, but it is MX convertible, so we're going to check that. So while we've got, ooh, Loctite on there, that's good. While we've got the wheel out, we're gonna flip the flip chips. Well, at least there's Loctite on it, right? You wanna basically take the flip chip from this to this, and put it at the back, the hole at the back, which basically makes the bike steeper, and that offsets the smaller rear wheel. Put it in here, so with the thread facing rearward, because we're in the 27.5 setting, and then it just tightens straight in. Let's get a 27.5 rear wheel. So yeah, I'm just gonna rob the rear wheel temporarily out of the Santa Cruz Heckler SL. So this one's got a Minion DHR 2 in 2.4, which is pretty much standard universal, one of the best rear tires, so that should give us accurate geometry. Now we're gonna go with exactly the same setup we had before, only this time with the 27.5-inch rear wheel and the flip chips in the 27.5-inch setting. Just to be sure it's still on 0. 64 degrees spot on. So just a hair slacker in the 27.5 setting. And I think that's the way a lot of people are gonna run this bike. Okay, so in terms of the geometry, the size and travel, all seems pretty accurate, right? That's what it says on the tin. I'm just gonna put it back to stock. It's 29-inch wheel back in. And I'm gonna take this bike away for 3 weeks over Christmas. But I'll definitely be riding it with a 27.5 rear wheel just to see how it feels. So while I've got the wheel out of the bike, swapping the flip chips, I may as well get rid of this thing here because that's just gonna annoy the shit out of me. Bingo. Oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna have to do it bit by bit. Oh, I thought I had the hang of it. Oh no. Told you I had the hang of it. Yeah, so the bike came through with the Magura MT5 brakes, Euro style. So rear brake on the right. So I'm just gonna swap those over now. Split clamps make that pretty easy to do, but the bolts probably will end up on the floor. That's the geometry, the weight, the travel, all measured. It's all pretty accurate. All that remains now is to get it on charge so we can take it for a razz. So this is actually a fast charger. So it'll do 0 to 75% charge in 1.5 hours, which is pretty fast, right? And it's not one of those big crazy fast chargers. It's still pretty compact. So the charging port's here. It's just a little door. Cable goes straight in. Done. So that's currently on 23%. So in an hour and a half, the bike should be fully charged, right? So that's it. That's the unboxing video. Just some final thoughts. Been impressed with the weight. The geometry is accurate, the travel is accurate, the flip chips do what they're supposed to do. And there's a couple little things I'd probably change on this bike pretty early when I start testing it. It's got an EXO Plus case and rear tire. It's a dissector, so I'll probably ditch that and get a DHR2, maybe in a double down. It's also got an Assegai on the front, but that's an EXO casing, so I'd like an EXO Plus on there, maybe even max grip. And also I've been playing around with, this is the Amflow Enduro stem. It's pretty short and the bars are a nice profile, but the stem seems it's pretty light, so it also seems pretty flexy. So I'll probably change that at some point too, just to make sure that a lot of people say this bike feels like a trail bike, and some of that flex maybe could be coming from the stem and just doesn't feel as positive as it could do. So that's the unboxing video. A little bit more detailed than some unboxing videos, but that's just how I like it. I'm gonna be taking this bike to Italy for 3 weeks over Christmas, so stay tuned for a full test video. I mean, I'm gonna give it some beans.